Bournemouth don't play in the Under-18 Premier League. They play in the EFL Youth Alliance. They have just made it through to the Merit League stage. They played one game so far. They were beaten by Southend, incidentally, their FA Youth Cup best semi-finalists back in 1969. They were beaten by Sunderland. They went down 5-1 away. They drew 1-1 at home. Sunderland went on to win the competition that year. Last season, they were beaten by Tottenham in the 4th round, but they are good at home in the Under-18 League. They are 9 unbeaten in front of their own supporters. As regards their route to the quarter-finals, well, Mansfield was tough, but clean sheets in both games since.
Well, Mansfield were very strong. They were very tough as well in terms of making it a physical game, and they just about got through that with a last-minute winner. They comfortably beat Oxford United, but the big win was against Aston Villa. They've always had good youth teams and had good players in that Aston Villa side. So that was the performance of the competition so far for Bournemouth.
Big ask, though, certainly for Bournemouth. Jason Wilcox, who's now the Academy Director, incidentally, of Manchester City. He'll be hoping for glory in this competition for the club that haven't won it since 2008. And it's Gareth Taylor, who's now in charge of the FA Youth Team squad. Former striker in his day and doing a good job at Manchester City.
He certainly is. He's been through all the youth sides. He's a striker that played for many clubs, in fact 15 different clubs, Man City being one of them, but at the moment he's doing a very good job with some excellent young players here at Manchester City.
Certainly a burden on him. There is expectation, of course, at all levels with Manchester City, and they've had such a good weekend, of course, the first team and the women's side, who will be the stars of the show for City. Ben Knight's made a real impression since signing from Ipswich. Well,
they don't just develop players, they also buy them, and that's what they've done with Knight. He's a centre forward, he can play out wide, but he's got plenty of pace, and he is a real threat when he gets running in behind defenders. He's a small player, but he can hold the ball up as well.
Just 16, Ben Knight at the moment. What an impact he's made for this Manchester City junior side over the course of this season. Felix Nemecha, well, he potentially is one of the next to be knocking on the first team door.
Well, he certainly is. He was actually on the bench for a Champions League game against Hoffenheim in December. He's a midfield player that can get forward as well. He's a good passer of the ball, strong in possession, and certainly a player to watch tonight.
Nemecha, who was sent off, incidentally, in the previous round. He served a suspension. Eric Garcia is the captain, and again, he's one that's been looked at by Pep Guardiola.
He certainly has. He was in the Euro Under-17 Champions League, UEFA Champions competition earlier this year, and he also played against Burton home and away in the Carabao Cup. That 9-0 victory at home, and then winning the game away as well. So a little bit of experience for him. He's a very good technical player coming out with the ball from the back, as you'd expect from a Man City defender.
Yeah, big guns certainly from City in their lineup tonight at the Vitality. Well, as for City's latest lines of form, well, the Under-18 Premier League is where they play. They're in the northern section at the moment, but they're mid-division, and it looks like they will not be contesting the title match between the north and the south at the end of this campaign. They're FA Youth Cup best, winners in '86 and 2008, and beaten in the final 3 times in the last 4 years. On each occasion, it was by Chelsea, who aren't in the competition. Last year, they were knocked out, surprisingly, by Plymouth on penalties in the 3rd round. Their form is good, though, just 1 defeat in the last 11. Their route to the quarter-final looks like this. Certainly the toughest test was in the previous round against Derby.
It certainly was, because Derby are a very good youth side at the moment, and they've got some good players. But so have Manchester City. They've swapped and changed on occasions. They're swapping and changing again tonight. But if they play at their very best, you know that Manchester City will cause Bournemouth a lot of problems. They're a good side.
2 clubs whose academies seem worlds apart. They go head-to-head on the south coast tonight. Bournemouth against Manchester City, with a place in the semi-finals of the FA Youth Cup up for grabs. Both, of course, are Premier League clubs. When it comes to junior football, the gulf between the pair is significant. As we've mentioned, the Cherries Under-18 squad playing the Youth Alliance League, which has just kicked off its Merit League stages. Bournemouth set to battle the likes of Luton and Exeter and Stevenage over the next few weeks. For City, much is expected of their Under-18 side, all of their academy teams, of course. They were in the UEFA Youth League earlier this campaign. They managed to make it through to the semi-finals last year. They were beaten by Barcelona. They have not made it out of the group stages this time around. Real disappointment for Manchester City on the continental stage. This is the one trophy trophy that they really want. They are incidentally through to the Premier League Under-18 Cup. They defeated Manchester United at the last 4 stages. They're through to the final. They will play Middlesbrough next month, but we do know that the Cup is a great leveller, and given Bournemouth's impressive run in the FA Youth Cup this term, there is no doubt that City will not be taking their opponents lightly. Haven't won the Youth Cup, of course, since 2008, 3 times finalists in the last 4 years. Will this be the campaign that they finally go on and lift the FA Youth Cup? We haven't seen another name on that trophy since Norwich managed to win it back in 2013 when they defeated Chelsea. We mentioned Bournemouth are making it through to the quarter-finals for only the 2nd time in their history. On the last occasion that they made the final 8, they defeated Hull away from home before going down to Sunderland. As we mentioned, a crowd of over 20,000 at Roker Park. Saw Sunderland win 5-1. It was 1 apiece here, but obviously that was too little too late. Let's check out the 2 teams for you. Bournemouth making 2 alterations to the side that defeated Aston Villa 2-0 in the round of 16. Christian Saidi and Harvey Bertrand miss out. Conor Curran-Brown and Zeno Ibsen-Rossi are recalled. As mentioned, Jake Scrimshaw is very much the key player. 6 goals in 3 FA Youth Cup matches this season, 23 for the under-18s in the league, and 14 on loan at Poole Town in the 7th tier of the English pyramid. That's how Bournemouth line up for this quarter-final. As for Manchester City, 4 changes to the team that defeated Derby 2-1. And it's interesting that Fisaya Deli-Bashuro comes in, Adrian Banabi as well, Taylor Richards returns, Lewis Thomas in goal. And amongst those that miss out, DiMaggio Wright, Philip Son offshore, not in the squad for this particular game. Felix Nemecha starts, having served a suspension for his red card against the Rams in the league recently. That's the Manchester City lineup. So City favourites, despite the fact that they travel to the south coast here. Bournemouth are going to have to pull out another very good performance to make it through to the last 4 of the FA Youth Cup. The pressure is very much on Gareth Taylor to deliver. Will his City side get the better of this Bournemouth team? We know who potentially will lie in wait in the semi-final, Everton or West Brom. Jury's already made for that. And those 2 sides lock horns this evening as well. So either City or Bournemouth will know their fate at the end of the 90, or potentially extra time, or maybe even penalties. And I'm sure that that young man, Jake Scrimshaw, just 18, will have plenty to say about the destination of these 2 sides in this competition this season. Just seconds away from kick-off here. Have to say, Stuart, that Manchester City have to be the favourites to go through to the last 4.
Yes, but they've swapped and changed their team a little bit. Bournemouth have done really well in the games that we've seen so far. Performance against Aston Villa. There's a player that can certainly run in Cope. Whether he's playing on the right wing, whether he plays on the left-hand side, or whether he plays through the middle with Scrimshaw, and there is Knight. Again, somebody that's really good when he's running in behind the opposition. He's not the biggest player, but he's got a great turn of speed.
Our referee is Lloyd Wood, gets set for a start. Dagenham official, who stands in National League games usually, has stood in one PL2 fixture featuring Manchester City. They were beaten in it by Norwich by 3-2. So City get the fixture underway. Be interesting to see how they go about this game, because they were beaten in the UEFA Youth League, surprisingly knocked out in the group stages. Only won 2 of their 6 games. They were behind Hoffenheim and Lyon, only ahead of Shakhtar Donetsk. Real disappointment after what they achieved last season, going all the way to finals weekend in Lyon before going down to Barcelona, who eventually won the competition. This is very much, though, the best domestic trophy when it comes to junior football. Every single side wants to win the FA Youth Cup. And for City, with all those defeats to Chelsea in the finals recently, well, they've been frustrated. Is this going to be their year?
Well, there's the first big diagonal from Garcia. Offside on that far side. We talked about Knight playing on the, or through the middle. He's actually playing on the right-hand side. So he's going to be a threat from there, and it's Taylor Richards that's going to play through the middle. They are playing with a back 4.
Lemaitre will take a touch. Manchester City have it back, and there's space over on this near side for the visitors to come forward. This is Rowan McDonald. And straight away, we're seeing potentially how Bournemouth are setting up here. Scrimshaw's going to have to get through an awful lot of work because it looks like he's going to play as a lone striker. This is Frimpong over on the left flank.
Here's the holding midfield player, Doyle. He'll look to control the players, that central midfield player sitting just in front of his two centre-backs.
Knight will roll it back. Manchester City look comfortable. Lemaitre. Short for Tommy Doyle. Lemaitre has it again. A little touch around the corner for Richards, who moves inside the penalty area. Should be cleared away by Camp.
And there you say, Scrimshaw is going to be playing as the lone striker. He's going to have to do a lot of work chasing defenders. He can't do it on that occasion. Up against the excellent Garcia. I think Bournemouth's tactics are clear for everybody to see. They're going to sit deep. They're going to stay compact and try and hit Man City on the counter-attack.
It's been a disappointing season in many ways for Manchester City, as we mentioned already. But if they can win the FA Youth Cup, it will be a huge moment for the academy side and all of the academy coaches, players that have come through from young ages at Manchester City. One or two have been bought in as well. There is a good mix between this City group. Experienced players at this level at least that have been knocking on the door of the first team, and one or two that have just made it through to this under-18 level. Let's see what the Blues can do here. This is Lemaitre to take a touch inside the area. Well, Knight was lurking, cleared away by Brennan Camp.
He turned the opportunity down to get an earlier shot in there, and Lemaitre when the ball came to him. But that switcher play really caused Bournemouth a problem. Good play from the left back, Frimpong. Played it right back in a couple of previous games. There he's trying to get his shot away. Never really made the contact he was looking for. And Lemaitre.
Straight away, you can maybe just see that he's got a bit more experience than quite a few of the young lads on the pitch. It's such a difference between 16 and 18 at this level. A number of 16-year-olds in the squad for both sides. Deeper corner towards the far post. It's just cleared away by Ibsen Rossi.
Yeah, taking no chances. Ibsen Rossi, deep corner, whips in. He couldn't leave it. Lemaitre was coming in behind him.
Defender who was on the books of Brentford and Southampton before moving to Bournemouth, his third season now, coming through the academy ranks on the south coast, and the vitality of Italian heritage, and he's waiting with a couple of goals in the Youth Alliance League this season as well. Short corner, Adrian Banabi will look to curl it in, left-footed towards that back post, and nearly an own goal. Well, Camp didn't get the shout, I presume, and eventually it's flown behind for a corner.
Well, what a good cross it is. Banabi bending it in with his left foot towards that far post. He can't just let it go. I think he's right to try and get the header in, but nearly puts it into his own net.
So Doyle across to take for Manchester City once again. The first was deep, up goes the signal, something a little different. Looks to be about the same, and that's a good pair of hands from Callum Ward.
That's a confidence booster for the goalkeeper. Clean take. Trying to get it out early to Scrimshaw, but he's up against it, playing as the lone striker.
Touch for McDonald. And now back towards Harwood Bellis, who's just 17. He's played in every single FA Youth Cup fixture so far. He's weighed in with 3 goals as well. Progressed to the Premier League 2 side this season, which is technically for under-23s. He's only just 17, so playing in the older age group. 9 appearances in PL2 and also 5 in the UEFA Youth League this season. So many competitions that Manchester City can place their youngsters. Here is Adrian Banabi once again. Back towards Felix Lemaitre. Bournemouth have bunkered in already. That was Knight making the move and Ward coming to collect.
Lemaitre's already had 2 or 3 good touches. He's looking for the diagonal pass. Knight made that run from the right-hand side, trying to get in behind the 2 or 3 centre-backs.
Back towards Ward once again. Cleared away, but only as far as McDonald. Now it's with Doyle. Work for Frimpong. Dutch junior international playing at left back. Actually on the bench for the 2017 FA Youth Cup final against Chelsea. Both legs of that. Didn't play in the loss to Plymouth last season. Here is Nemecha once more. Adrian Benabi left-hand side. Low ball in, and the shot is wide from Taylor Richards.
They worked it really well, Man City. Switching it out to that left-hand side. And he has got a really good left foot, Benabi. 3 defenders in there, but it's the centre-forward who gets to it first. Taylor Richards. Just can't guide it inside that near post. I think he plays it from one foot onto the other.
Was on the bench in the Carabao Cup semi-final second leg game against Burton. This is Nemecha, goes himself and finds the corner brilliantly. Well, he's tried to tee up teammates. They haven't taken the hint. He doesn't need it because he's curled that one beyond Callum Ward, and Manchester City have a very early lead, and even though it is an early lead, you've got to say it's deserved.
Well, Benabi just cuts it back, and Mecha lots of time just to pick his spot. It all started off with a poor kick by Ward. And he just puts that little bit of bend on it. It's a very good finish. Benabi has been influential in these opening minutes, but so too has Mecha, and problems for Alan Connell already.
This is a significant step up, certainly, for Bournemouth. The academies that they play against week in, week out, not the strength that Manchester City take on. And they have got it all to do now. Nemecha on 8 minutes. And Ward beaten already. Here he is once again, the Bournemouth keeper. Hanfrey. There is the out ball.
Cope just trying to make a run in behind McDonald on that occasion. Left back Hanfrey trying to bend it into his path. They've got to look to be playing forward, Bournemouth. Man City are going to press if they keep playing back. Oh, he just about got it through.
Dinsmore receives and gets rid sharpish-like. Bournemouth got to go a little more direct. Scrimshaw wins the aerial battle, but Manchester City pick up the second ball. Cleared away initially by Genesini.
Yeah, the system, the setup that Bournemouth are playing with, it means that Man City are going to dominate the game. With a back three with 2 wing-backs, but the wing-backs are have to be really deep because Man City are playing with 2 wide players. So it means they outnumber Bournemouth in these sort of areas. And it's very easy for Doyle and the defenders for Man City just to pick out their passes.
Garcia to this near side. Rowan McDonald will come forward. It's easy for Manchester City at the moment. They lead by a goal to 0. And we've had nearly 10 minutes of this quarter-final. And City in complete control at the moment. Howard Bellis strokes it to Frimpong on the left-hand side. Adrian Benabi been so dangerous already. Further left still. This is Felix Nemecha, the goal scorer.
At the moment, they've got 5 defenders against 3 attackers, Bournemouth. So it means they're going to be outnumbered in midfield. It's a real problem for them. They just won't get the ball at the moment.
Scrimshaw chases down, but City, with so many options, keep possession easily. Just begin to creep towards that Bournemouth penalty area. Injection of pace from Ben Knight comes in field. Nemecha made the run. This is Frimpong. Nemecha once again. Frimpong. Doyle. Here's Eric Garcia. He was in the side that was beaten by Plymouth last season after that 0-0 draw. Knocked out on penalties. He didn't take a spot kick. Here he is once again, 18. Member of Spain's European Championship winning side in 2017 and under-17 level, beating England in the final, then back again next season, the season following when they were beaten in the semis. Here is Adrian Bernabei.
He's certainly a threat down that left-hand side. Little nutmeg. Frimpong has got the freedom of the park. He can run forward with it. Wasn't a great pass here, but just invites the challenge from Genesini. Can't find the cutback.
Nathan Morale, Welsh waits as the City coaching staff confer ahead of this corner. Go towards the far post again, cleared away by Brennan Camp, and then the shot is nowhere near the target from Rowan McDonald.
It never looked like getting over the top of that one. McDonald is in the right position, wants to attack it. I think he realised just as he was about to pull the trigger that he was never going to keep it down. It was a decent cross into the box. Camp defending it, getting a bit of height on his header.
McDonald hasn't scored this season. He's featured in every FA Youth Cup game so far this campaign. Just one PL2 appearance, regular for the under-18s. And only on the bench for the UEFA Youth League and the EFL Trophy matches, of course, that Manchester City's academy were involved in. Slightly older age group. As, the Premier League and certain championship sides have been allowed to play in that competition, controversially. Some like it, some don't. City were beaten in the quarter-finals by Sunderland after winning through a couple of knockout stages against Barnsley and Rochdale. They came through a group stage that featured Shrewsbury, Crewe and Tranmere. Adrian Bernabei racing forward on the left-hand side. The whistle has gone.
Well, he doesn't agree with the decision, but it was really top-class football from Manchester City. At that time, Bournemouth tried to press the ball high up the field. And he is just offside, I think. Assistant referee got that absolutely right. One player that was close to him would have been Camp, who was the furthest of the defenders away from the winger.
Came from Barcelona just last summer. Another player that's featured in the under-17 European Championships. Played in the Carabao Cup this season just as a late sub. Did Bernabei, just 17, another one that Pep Guardiola will be looking at closely, I'm sure. Here is Taylor Richards, 17 goals in 55 appearances for the junior sides of Manchester City across the competitions. Nemecha is brought down.
Yeah, just trying to go past that challenge. I think he just leaves his leg there. Cope, the player that brings him down. It's actually been difficult to mention too many of the Bournemouth players thus far. Bournemouth haven't had any sort of possession. Got a look of Phil Foden about him, Knight, when he picks the ball up on that right-hand side. That's where Foden made his name for the England junior teams, out on the right-hand side, very much a left-footed player. That's where Knight is playing today.
Came from Ipswich, played in this competition last season for the Suffolk side. Beaten by Blackpool in the 5th round. Obviously gone deeper into the tournament this season. Doyle. Bellis towards Adrian Bernabei. Doyle once again, McDonald calling for it. Further right still is Knight. Now it's with Garcia. Frimpong. Taylor Richards waiting for it. Bournemouth defenders working overtime. What a touch that was from Nemecha. Then he runs into trouble. Adrian Bernabei once again. McDonald. Knight calling for it. Taylor Richards, edge of the penalty area. Richards makes a move. Here he is. Looking for a quick 1-2. To try and involve Deli Bashiru. Curran Brown with the turn, but no real progress made, and eventually they win a throw and no more. But a ripple of applause from the Bournemouth fans, who haven't really seen too much from their side in an attacking sense so far.
Well, the trouble is they've been chasing the ball around, but I think in some ways the problem is the formation, the tactics they're using. It's just allowing Man City to dominate the ball, and suddenly when Bournemouth win it back, they've got nowhere to go with it. They're going to put themselves under a bit of pressure here as well.
Yeah, Camp initially found Ibsen Rossi, but his clearance has gone straight to Doyle, who's picking up all of those loose balls. This is Deli Bashuru. Gets down well, Callum Ward.
Bashiru finding that bit of space, driving that shot in. It is a powerful midfield, but Doyle is the player that's controlling everything at the moment, the holding midfield player, alongside those, just in front of those two centre-halves. Now a chance for Bournemouth.
Hanfrey, left-hand side, Scrimshaw calling for it, looking to bend his run. Cavalry are arriving, here is Scrimshaw. There is options over on the right-hand side. This is Mariah Welsh, does get the cross in, big opportunity taken! Hanfrey coming in and equalising for Bournemouth. First real attack. Well, that's got the home supporters interested in the fixture once again, because it was one-way traffic prior to this. He's popped up, right place, right time to fire into the Manchester City goal.
Well, it's not a great header out, but they have an overload on the far post, and it was good to see Hanfrey got forward in the first place. They played around Man City's pressure, they got the ball high up the field. This is where it all started off. Patient in and around the box. Scrimshaw sets it up, but this is a really good cross. Mariah Welsh into the box, 2v1. McDonald doesn't deal with it, and certainly a good finish from the left back. And that's what you want to see from your left wing back. When the ball's on the far side of the field, he's making ground to get in the box. Good finish with his weaker foot.
Well, once on the books of Charlton and Millwall, he's scored in 3 different competitions now this season, Tom Hanfrey. He's netted in the Youth Alliance Cup and a success over Plymouth. Also a couple in the Youth Alliance League, 5-0 success over Swindon back in November. And he's weighed in with his first FA Youth Cup goal here. And it's given Bournemouth a little bit of hope, because prior to that, we've got to be honest, Manchester City have dominated the game like I've not seen for quite some time. Maybe it will just settle the Bournemouth players down a little. Not that they've necessarily looked particularly nervous.
And it might give them a bit of confidence. It might make the coach, Alan Connell, think that if they can get more players forward, they can pass it forward that little bit quicker and get players in and around Scrimshaw, they can cause Man City problems. Because these tactics at the start of the game weren't working, really.
Well, it's the beauty of the Cup at all levels, and we do see some surprises. The FA Youth Cup as well. It's really been a fantastic competition recently. Yes, Chelsea have dominated, but some brilliant games, certainly towards the business end of the competition over the last few years, and Manchester City have been involved in those, and well, maybe they've got a game on their hands here. Bournemouth have equalised against the run of play. Manchester City will resume their onslaught, certainly in terms of possession.
There's a disappointing header from McDonald, the right back, but he was outnumbered 2v1. It's about the only time Man City have been outnumbered anywhere near their own penalty box.
Bit of complacency maybe from City.
Yeah, I don't think they defended with too much urgency there. They allowed the ball to be switched out to the left-hand side where Hanfrey started it all. And there you see the confidence now just growing in Bournemouth.
It's Mariah Welsh who had a hand in the goal, losing out, and now it's with Ben Knight coming forward. Camp is across, Knight to curl it in. Richards loses possession. Knight was scampering away. Adrian Banabi looking to take on the fullback here. Still going the Spaniard, driven in, the block.
I think it's Dinsmore that comes out and gets the block in. He's certainly a threat. Banabi starts to attack the left foot of the defender, then chops it back to get his own shot away, and it's Dinsmore, the right-sided centre-back, who comes out and gets the block in. All-important block.
Lively on the left-hand side. Doyle has been efficient in that central midfield role. Player played for England in the Euros at under 17 level. Was actually injured in the defeat against Switzerland. It was the final group match and turned an ankle, couldn't play again. And then bang out of the competition in the knockout stages, and now fit again for Manchester City, very much a key performer in that midfield area.
There's the goal scorer, and Frey.
Involved again, Scrimshaw can't make the ball stick. Doyle for Nemecha. Adrian Banabi's on the move. Flag will stay down this time. Bournemouth defenders scampering across to deny Richards room. Should be cleared away by Bournemouth. They haven't managed to get a foot on the ball just yet. This is Ben Knight, makes space. Last-ditch stuff once again, this time by Brennankamp.
Well, really good block from Camp. He knows that Knight is very much a left-footed player playing out on the right-hand side. He's going to try and bend it into that far corner, but last-ditch defending and good defending from Camp.
Scored against Clevedon in the 4-0 away success in the third round, and 3 for the under-18s in the Premier League Northern section, including 2 in his last 3, a couple against Middlesbrough. Here comes the corner again, and the looping header is just about claimed by Callum Ward. Didn't have that much pace on it.
Howard Bellis, the player that got the header in. He might just head it onto the defender's head. That's what made it loop up in the air.
Ibsen Rossi. Bournemouth with another opportunity maybe here. This is Mariah Welsh. Camp. Here's the goal scorer, Hanfrey. City sitting off for a second, but the press will come. Led by Richards. Camp to clear. Scrimshaw's got a bit of pace and a bit of hustle and bustle about him, as you can see. And able to shoulder Garcia off the ball.
Yes, it's a really good description of his style of play. Bustling centre forward. Good strength, decent pace as well. As we said, good in the air. Hasn't been able to hold the play up so far.
I mentioned the fact that Bournemouth have been playing games, obviously, in their league against academies that haven't got the budget that Manchester City haven't got, maybe the quality. They can't buy players from overseas, but they've taken in 1 or 2 friendlies over the course of this season. The under-18 squad, Bournemouth, they managed to beat Tottenham. They drew with Chelsea, obviously 2 sides that are through to the last 16 of the UEFA Youth League. They've done well against better academies, if you like. Scrimshaw has had a bit of joy against them. So Alan Connell has simply tested these young players against better opposition. City, I guess, a step up again, certainly in this competition. Nemecha peels away, and that's going to be a corner.
Yeah, the corners haven't been that good. They've been a bit too flighted by Doyle.
They don't look like what I would describe Manchester City corners, high inside the penalty area. I can't believe that Pep Guardiola would enjoy a corner kick such as that, but maybe they feel that Bournemouth are gettable. Let's see what Doyle can do here. Generally, they've been high inside the 6-yard box, looking to put the keeper under a bit of pressure at the far post. Will he mix it up a little bit? There it goes again.
Just stopping the counter-attack there. McDonald with that challenge on Cope. We mentioned has got a bit of pace when he's running with the ball.
City are 7th in the northern section of the under-18s. Only 3 wins from their 13 games. 17 points off top spot. Under-23s, similar type of position. 13 points off top spot held by Everton. In PL2 Division 1, you can go down, as Manchester United found out recently. Now it's Bournemouth's turn to press that Manchester City backline, always confident in possession. They've worked at opening well, and they're on the move. Knight on the right-hand side, looking to race forward. Here is Ben Knight. Richards waiting inside the penalty area if he can pull it back. Dele Bashiru, edge of the box. Here is Richards.
Just try to reverse it back into the path of the on-rushing Knight.
Libashuru. And now Doyle. Nemecha.
You saw the problem when Bournemouth do press the ball and didn't press it particularly well. Man City just played around it, and suddenly Knight was racing in behind their left-sided centre half.
McDonald for Deli Bashuru, and now it's with Doyle. Adrian Benabi on the left-hand side, hugging that touchline, looking to try and take on the Bournemouth defenders again. It's a high ball. Knight will look to recycle, keep it in play, does just about that. Jerry Nassini going to be tested again. His header away.
Frimpong again doing well. He's got a lot of pace out on that left-hand side, the left back.
Richards, Nemecha, Doyle. Benabi left-hand side, Delabashiro in field. Now it's with McDonald. City move the ball from one flank to the other, trying to find a way in. Doyle thought about the shot, I think, there. Now it's with Knight. One step over and another. Delabashiro.
Interesting to see every pass that McDonald has made. It's been usually into Doyle or one of his centre halves. I'm sure there's been a forward pass from McDonald so far.
Knight. Always willing to take the fullback on. And Frey's got his work cut out. He's scored the goal, though. He can be pleased with his performance so far, and has just gone to ground there. Not quite sure if there's an issue with Tom Hanfrey.
Yeah, I think he has got an issue, because when he scored his goal, when they were waiting to kick off, he was doing a lot of stretching. Just doing a couple of yoga stretches just to try and release, obviously, a tight muscle. There it is. I think he could be struggling here.
Well, this would be a real shame, because he scored the goal. He's given Bournemouth a lot of hope in this fixture. We approach the half-hour mark, because in the opening exchanges here after Manchester City scored, and indeed prior to them netting the opener, Bournemouth looked like they would never ever get back into the game, and this man popped up in the right place at the right time with a forceful shot to draw Bournemouth level.
Yeah, the way he's wincing as he's just having his right thigh just touched there. Doesn't look happy, but that's how he scored his goal, inside of the right foot on the half volley. Very good finish, but he actually started the move off down the left-hand side, switched the play to the right, then got himself into the box. Let's hope he's going to be okay, but I think it's going to be a struggle for him. You see by his face that he's not happy.
Opportunity for Alan Connell to get some instruction to his players here, as Stuart mentioned earlier. Took over as the under-18 coach summer of 2017. He was already a coach at the academy. Bit of a reshuffle in that particular year, and Alan Connell taking charge, and I'm sure that Eddie Howe will be pleased with the work that Alan has done, and indeed the progress that Bournemouth have made. They have made one or two significant signings that have cost them quite a bit of money. He'll be desperate to get players into his side from the academy.
Well, Bournemouth certainly have spent some money over the years to get themselves from the lowest division into the Premier League. They've been able to maintain their position in the Premier League by playing some very good football at times. They've got I'd say an inventive coach, a young coach that certainly feels at home at Bournemouth. He's talking to him, getting freedom of the city.
I did read that. He certainly deserves it for what he's done for the club.
Not quite sure what that gives you, freedom of the city.
It means you can hang your washing out in the town square, I believe, for one thing. In comes the corner from Manchester City, easy for Callum Ward again.
That's an interesting reward, I have to
say.
say.
Yeah, amongst other things, it's always the one that springs to mind. Never one I do. Benabi again. Richards was lurking. Adrian Benabi, hard and low. Good save from Ward.
Again, Bournemouth, when they do try and play out from the back, they're having the ball taken off them fairly easily. Man City pressing high up the field. Bernabei winning it back, having a little run here. He gets lucky as the ball ricochets into his path. But he's been really good in this first half. He's made some good decisions. He was right to go for goal on that occasion. Cutback wasn't really on.
Doyle. Here is McDonald. An attempted forward pass that doesn't quite work out. He reverted to tight with a sideways ball. This is Doyle again. Nemecha to his left. Doyle goes himself. Pushed away by Ward. Pushed back into play. That was dangerous.
It's a decent effort from Doyle because that started to dip just in front of the goalkeeper. He's had the freedom of the park in that central area. Just drops his shoulder. You see how it just bounces in front of the goalkeeper. Could have been difficult for him.
Adrian Bernabei. Manchester City have been pegged back here, but they continue to play in their measured way. Knight with McDonald thinking about the overlap. Doyle. Frimpong. Adrian Bernabei. Nemecha.
He's got a languid style, hasn't he, Nemecha?
Frimpong.
A late challenge. Could have continued to play on there. Mariah Welsh, the player that just came in a bit late.
Adrian Bernabei. This is Frimpong. Nemecha left-hand side. McDonald. City probe away. Doyle once again. Adrian Bernabei. He's had one or two sighters. Richards does well under pressure. Doyle. Delibashiru. Doyle again. Where's the opening for City? Through the middle once more, but no real room for manoeuvre. This is Adrian Bernabei. Now it's with Nemecha, who's been lurking on the left-hand side for a good couple of minutes. What can he do? Looking to beat his man. And eventually he does get to the byline. Pullback not good enough. Felix Nemecha, his brother Lucas, is on Manchester City's books. He's actually on loan at Preston. Junior England internationals who have also turned out for the German junior sides over the years. Haven't got to make that decision just yet as to which they will represent.
First time we've seen Garcia step into midfield.
Delibashiru. All of the game being played in the final third. Bournemouth defensive third. But City can't find a way through. Do they need to try something different?
Well, I think they should get one or two more crosses into the box and get players racing into the box when they get it into wide areas, because they can get it into wide areas with great ease at times, particularly when Knight comes in on his left foot. That's when players should be making runs, I think, into the box. He's having to go square quite a lot of the time around the front of Bournemouth's back line.
Here is Doyle. 10 minutes to go until half-time. Bournemouth 1, Manchester City 1. Quarter-finals of the FA Youth Cup. City haven't won it since 2008 and only twice winners. Bournemouth played about at the back. Camp's got to make a decision here. Caught in two minds. Hanfrey.
Seems okay at the moment, Hanfrey.
They've managed to play their way out of trouble. It looked a bit dicey at times. Here is Hanfrey. Hanfrey thought it was a Bournemouth throw. McDonald gets the decision.
Doesn't matter how old you are or what era you come from. The assistant
Lino
referee is still called Lino.
Adrian Banabi, low ball in towards Richards. Frimpong, Nemecha. And still scored one from this sort of range. Not this time.
Well, he's got great disguise when he's played. Threatened to shoot with his right foot, went past Mariah Welsh really easily here. Threatens to shoot with his right, drags it onto his left. Just takes the deflection off the first defender. But a very talented young boy.
Doyle drives one in this time. Much better delivery. And a wonderful goal from Garcia, coming in from the back to easily beat Callum Ward.
Well, Bournemouth don't defend it well enough at the near post, but it's a well-worked set play. Most of them have been lofted, but the way he's set up, it's always going to be driven into that near post area. They leave that free, and then Garcia comes late. And what a good header it is. He gets away from his marker. Giannasini is the player that doesn't go with him. Should be marking on the other side, but what a good header by Garcia. Really controlled it. Didn't have to put any power in it, he just had to glance it into that far corner.
Well, you mentioned he was getting involved just a little bit more. And this time racing in front of Bournemouth defenders, unmarked. An excellent finish, and City are back in front.
And you have to say deservedly so. They've played all the football. Bournemouth have only had a couple of attacks or a couple of good passages of play. I feel a little bit sorry for some of the Bournemouth players. It's a great occasion for them, but because they've had so little of the ball, they're not really being able to show their true qualities. Yes, defensively they can do that, but we'd love to see Scrimshaw on the ball that little bit more. We'd like to see Cope running with it. We'd like to see Curran Brown on the right-hand side showing his qualities. Haven't seen anything of Nippard in midfield. You know, he's a good attacking midfield player when he gets on the ball and makes things happen. But all of their work so far has been on the defensive side of the game.
Here's the goal scorer, Garcia. Now it's with Harwood Bellis as Manchester City settle into that familiar style once again. Deli Bashiru. Knight, can he get there? Gets the cross in. I think it had just gone the wrong side of the white line as far as City were concerned.
Shows that he's also got a right foot as well as being able to come in on his left and get shots and crosses away and passes into the box. Seen too much of him, but he's just been knocked over there. Yeah, just shields the ball away from Frimpong, who has a little go at him.
Scored 6 in one game for Poole against Portland United in a 7-1 success. Hat-tricks galore over the course of this season. 5 for the under-18s, including when he hit 4 against Portsmouth. 7-0 in a league win back in September. We've not really seen what he can do up front. Chasing everything around, he's certainly working for the Bournemouth cause. Camp comes out of defence and wins it back in an advanced position. Curran Brown, Scrimshaw. Chance for Bournemouth to build once again. Plenty of players forward. Camp is one of them, but going the wrong way.
Doyle trying to win the ball back here, just commits the foul. Thought he could win it there. Camp just puts his foot across the ball.
Well, that's good play eventually from Taylor because he's found Nemecha here. Well, did he realise that Nathan Mariah Welsh was hard on his heels? Threaded through once again. Let's see what Bournemouth can do here. Curran Brown is towards Scrimshaw. It's Garcia that will head away.
His eyes must have been lighting up there. Scrimshaw scored so many goals with his head this season. That was a decent cross as well, but Garcia read it well.
Poor challenge from McDonald. Coming through the back of Jake Cope.
Yeah, again, he thought he could win it. Coming in from his right back position into midfield, so thought he had to make a challenge before the ball was going to be switched back out to where he came from.
Malden sets himself, hasn't had too much to do in this fixture so far. City with a high line. A race inside the box. Both sets of players. Anywhere will do for City on this occasion. Sometimes that's what you have to do.
Well, both will have their say at half-time. I'm sure that Gareth Taylor will ask his team to play exactly the same way, but just keep their concentration.
Knight has picked off the loose ball. It's cleared again by Dinsmore. Thought he looked like he was struggling with a bit of injury. Here is Nippard. Space for Curran Brown maybe to turn. Better from Bournemouth. Scrimshaw wants it. So does Mariah Welsh. Genesini will take the throw.
Every so often, it has been every so often, that it's opened up for Bournemouth in midfield. One easy pass takes out the whole of the Man City midfield, and then they're at Man City's back four. They didn't make the most of that situation.
McDonald. Doyle under pressure. Finds Harwood Bellis, who in turn looks for Frimpong, full of running on that left-hand side. Nemecha takes it in his stride. Richards calling for it. Still Taylor Richards, looking to get the angle to get the shot off. Adrian Banabi trying to go with the outside of the boot.
Well, he did very well just to adjust his feet here, because the pass to him wasn't particularly good. There's the run from Taylor Richards. Just sets up, but it's underneath his feet, and he just tries to manipulate the ball so he can play it with the outside of his left. He may just ask for a few more crosses into the box in the second half, get more bodies in there. If Bournemouth are going to sit off and let Man City have easy possession out wide, got to almost make them pay.
Camp to find Cope. To clear for Scrimshaw to chase, but Manchester City first to react. And Frimpong will start yet another Manchester City attack. We're in the final minutes of the 45 at the Vitality. Manchester City leading Bournemouth by 2-1. Garcia and Nemecha for City, and Frey for Bournemouth. Pegs City back. City have had all of the ball, all of the possession, vast majority of the chances, but just the one goal in it. Deli Bashuru still going, powerful presence in midfield, and a good block. Sees the ball spin behind off Ibsen Rossi.
Yeah, good positional play for him to start with. Deli Bashuru finding that bit of space in behind Cope. Little step over, gets himself a bit of space. And it's Ibsen Rossi with the block. But he's an all-action midfield player. Number 8, Deli Bashuru. Well, the last corner was the best one he's taken so far.
It was from the other side. Generally, left-hand side. Well, it is driven him again. He's taken his cue from what he did previously, but that's a shocker.
Well, I've never seen a player attempt that. He put the ball the other side of the corner flag and ran from the other side of the corner flag. That was always going to go out of play if he was going to try and drive it.
Ward sticking to their guns and trying to play out from the back, but I feel like there's a mistake in them nearly every single time they try and do it. City's players are so quick to put the press on. One or two of the Bournemouth defenders maybe not as comfortable as their City counterparts.
Well, playing out from the back, you always do it for a reason. Man City are doing it so they can suck Bournemouth in at the right time and then play around them and create space elsewhere. When Bournemouth play out from the back, I think at times it's just playing out from the back for the sake of doing so.
Knight for Richards on his right side.
That sums up Taylor Richards in this first half. He's manipulated the ball very well. He's changed direction. Just hasn't had that final finish, getting underneath that one. See how he changes direction so easily here. And he's just trying to bend it over the top of the goalkeeper and down the side of him.
Just over 90 seconds of the added on 3 minutes at the end of first 45 minutes. Has been enjoyable to watch. Better if you're a City fan, not so much if you're a Bournemouth supporter. And Connell's side have been hemmed into their own half. They've had to bunker in a little. They've been put under an awful lot of pressure. It's not as if Callum Ward's had to make save after save after save, but City certainly creating more of the opportunities and the ball in dangerous areas far more often. Here is Knight.
Hanfrey was just struggling there. He was racing out to close the ball down, just limping. I wonder if he comes out for the second half, the left wing back. And I wonder if Alan Connell at half-time will think about changing his tactics. It's very difficult once the half has started and they're being totally outplayed, but he might have a chance at half-time.
Adrian Banabi, this is Nemecha. And again, to combine. Well, Scrimshaw is still willing, but he's not really had too much by way of touches in the first 45. And it's a half-time that City have dominated, but just the one goal between them. Mecha got the goal scoring underway with a delightful curling effort. Hanfrey equalised from close range before Garcia. A glancing header from a corner on the right-hand side, giving City the advantage at half-time. At the break, it is Bournemouth 1, Manchester City 2. Well, Manchester City lead at Bournemouth in the quarter-final of the FA Youth Cup. And so far, it's gone to plan for Gareth Taylor's side, who are dominant over the first 45 minutes. So many opportunities, so many chances. And they were very good from the off. Adrian Banabi over on that left-hand side, seeing Taylor Richards' effort go wide.
Well, good bit of play from Manchester City, switching it out to that left-hand side. And as he's done on many occasions, Banabi driving a good cross into the box.
And just a few moments later, Banabi involved once again. Mecha with the finish.
Well, in that first period of the game, Bournemouth was sitting really deep. They couldn't get tight to anybody. They certainly couldn't get tight to Mecha there. Bernabei just reverses the ball back to him. He's got lots of time to pick his spot, and he does it brilliantly. Just bending it past the goalkeeper, past the defenders. No chance for Ward.
First FA Youth Cup goal of the campaign for the midfielder. Bashiro has been good in midfield, bringing a save out of Ward.
He's found a lot of those sort of positions in between the lines of Bournemouth.
And then the surprise, Bournemouth pegging Manchester City back. Suddenly, there were one or two options for the Cherries, and we have to credit the ball into the box from that right-hand side, and indeed the finish. First of all, it was Mariah Welsh, and then got to the pitch of the ball well here, didn't he? Kept it down, did Tom Hanfrey.
Good finish from him. Man City actually didn't defend it very well right from the start of the move. Then Garcia should have been backing off to mark Cope. McDonald should have been marking Hanfrey, but they worked it well, Bournemouth. A good ball played in by Mariah Welsh. And what a good finish it was from Hanfrey, who then struggled slightly after that. Almost looked as though he'd hurt his thigh while scoring that goal.
City looked to respond immediately. Adrian Bernabei over on the left-hand side with a low shot here that ricocheted behind.
Ibsen Rossi, who's done a lot of that throughout the first half, getting blocks in. But he's been a constant threat. Bernabei going one way, changing direction. Centre-half comes out and gets the block in.
Bernabei's been good on that left-hand side. We've seen a little bit from Knight on the right-hand side as well.
Yeah, coming always back onto his left foot to cause the danger. He's a left-footed player playing on the right-hand side, but there's a good block from Camp here. Man City win the ball back high up the field. Camp throwing himself in front of the shot.
A lot of the corners have been high and hanging balls inside the area. This effort from Harwood Bellis easily saved.
Yeah, that hasn't been the best way for Man City to go from set plays. He does get a header, but it's a looping one.
Here's Adrian Bernabei once again. Gets a little lucky maybe here, but always willing to get the shot off, and Ward does make the save this time.
Well, one or two players in the box were asking for the cutback, but it wasn't really on. I think he did the right thing. He gets a bit of luck just here. He was trying to play the ball into Taylor Richards. Then he goes low and hard, trying to get it across the goalkeeper. Decent save.
Doyle has very much been the orchestrator and the tempo player for City, deciding to have a go himself.
Yeah, they were all backing off of him. Bournemouth almost into their own box. He's the midfield player that's had loads of time on the ball, just steps forward. Thought about changing direction, gets the shot in, and it's a decent one. It bounces just in front of the goalkeeper.
Nemecha to the fore just a few moments later as Manchester City's pressure continued. Went quiet for 10 or 15 minutes in the game. But the England junior international pulling the trigger from outside the box, seeing it flash wide via a deflection.
But he can go past defenders with great ease. Look at that. Just drags it from his right foot onto his left.
Now, different style of corner resulting in a goal here for City.
Well, they work it well. Bournemouth should have a player in that near post zone to defend that low ball being played in, but it's a good delivery by Doyle, and it's an even better run and header from Garcia. Knows exactly what he's doing. Perfect from the former Barcelona man.
Brilliant glancing header to give City the advantage, thoroughly deserved. Richards was trying for a third just before the half, and then finds Bernabei, whose effort goes wide via a deflection. Let's check out some half-time stats for you. Look at the shots for Manchester City, 15 all told, 5 on target and 10 corners, and that really just sum up the domination that they have had over the course of the 45 minutes here. Just a one shot on target for Bournemouth, but it has counted, and they will believe that they are still in this game, even though it's going to be a huge ask for them from here on in for Alan Connell's side to try and get this tie back. Well, FA Youth Cup 6th round, as you can see, Manchester City leading Bournemouth, as we know. Meanwhile, it's Everton who are currently leading at West Brom. They kicked off at the same time as us here at the Vitality. They lead the Baggies by 2-1. And if City do go through and Everton do go through, they will meet each other in the semi-final. That draw has already been made. And as regards the other quarter-finals, well, Leicester will take on Watford tomorrow, and Liverpool will tackle Bury in the early parts of March, as you can see. That's the current state of affairs in the FA Youth Cup quarter-finals. Welcome back. The two teams emerging from the dressing rooms for the second half of this FA Youth Cup quarter-final between Bournemouth and Manchester City, and it is Manchester City that lead by 2-1. We are going to see a change for Bournemouth ahead of this second half. James Oliver is the player who is stripped and ready, as you can see. Tom Humphrey, the player that was really struggling in that first half after scoring, unfortunately, seemed to injure himself. So Humphrey is the player who's going to come off, and it'll be interesting to see what James Oliver can do. Just 17 scored against Portsmouth in a Youth Alliance fixture back in September, an easy 7-0 success. Oliver, he's got a little bit of pace. Be interesting to see if there's a change of formation as well when it comes to Bournemouth. Can't quite believe that Oliver is going to slot in that particular position, but we will find out shortly. I'm sure that this young man will want more of the ball in the second half. Jake Scrimshaw, we talked him up ahead of the action. Certainly a player that scored so many goals across so many different divisions. Poole Town in the 7th tier and Youth Alliance Cup and League. As we get confirmation of that change, Humphrey is the player that will stay in the dressing rooms because of injury, and James Oliver the player to come on. Scrimshaw needs to get more involved. Oliver will have to contribute as well, and Bournemouth will have to try and come from 2-1 down if they are to progress to the semi-finals of the FA Youth Cup.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing. Will they change the shape? Will they change the system? I'm not sure they will. It looks as though James Oliver's gone to that left-hand side, exactly where Humphrey was playing. Still a back three, and there he is playing as left wing-back.
Underway for the second half then at the Vitality FA Youth Cup quarter-final between Bournemouth and Manchester City. Last time that Bournemouth made it through to the semi-finals, the only previous time they ever have, back in 1969, when they took on the might of Sunderland, who were very much the team when it came to youth football. Then they won the competition that year. They went to Roker Park for the first leg of a two-legged semi-final. No two-legged semi-finals anymore. They were beaten 5-1, 20-odd thousand turned up, and then drew 1-1 at Dean Court, which is now, of course, the Vitality. Doesn't look like they are going to go through to the last four to try and beat that record, but you never know. Don't rule Bournemouth out just yet. City will be pretty confident, though, I think, of progressing.
Well, they completely dominated that first half, but you have to have an air of caution, having conceded that goal totally against the run of play. Foul throw given.
Still got something to learn then, these kids. Don't know it all just yet.
Well, depending where you go and watch football in Europe, most of the European countries, there isn't such a thing as a foul throw.
Reminder of the Bournemouth side on your screens. Just a couple of changes from their 5th round win over Aston Villa. This is Garcia. We'll have to get the hurry up on here, but very composed at the back. Now it's with Frimpong. Pressing is coming from Scrimshaw and also from Curran Brown. Needs to use the keeper. London will clear away, but I guess that's what you'd call the forced error.
They're trying to play along their own byline and across the 6-yard box. There's Humphrey. That's a real worry for him. And he had such a decent first half as well. Out at left wing back, scored the goal, but I thought he was one of Bournemouth's better players. And he'll always remember that finish. What a good one it was with his weaker right foot. So certainly no change in the system for Bournemouth. Still playing on the back foot. They're still going to have men spare at the back.
Nemecha, Richards is calling for it. Nemecha might go himself here. Still going. Drives it wide.
If you've got spare men at the back, when somebody starts running with the ball, you can get one of those defenders to come out and close it down. Then slow to come out. The defenders are asking the midfield players to come back. Almost standing there, both Genesini and Ibsen Rossi.
Are you surprised he's not changed the system?
Yes. I can understand that he doesn't want to be played around and beaten heavily, but you've got to go and compete with the opposition. You've got to give these young players a chance to show what they're capable of. At the moment, we haven't seen anything from many of the Bournemouth players, not because they're not good players, but the system Means they're being totally outnumbered in midfield. They're totally outnumbered in their front areas. The only players that can really show what they're made of are the centre-backs and the wing-backs.
And it was the wing-back, of course, who scored for Bournemouth to give them hope. And maybe with an opportunity here, as they enjoy a bit of possession, but no real penetration once again. Callum Ward, the keeper. Genesini will play it forward. Scrimshaw with a good touch. This is Curran Brown. When they've combined, Bournemouth have looked dangerous. Scrimshaw once more. It's the ankle of Garcia. He just flicks it away and behind for a corner.
Well, he's claimed it came off Scrimshaw. But this is a chance for Bournemouth. Set play from this right-hand side, needs a good delivery. It's a good ball played down the side. Actually, Scrimshaw takes his touch that little bit wide. If he takes his touch a bit straight, he could then run at Garcia. Shows what he's made of. Did a lot of running in the first half without really getting that many touches of the ball.
Left chest, right chest.
Dinsmore gets ready.
Interesting that Dinsmore is taking it, one of their better headers of the ball.
Fair delivery as well. And Nemecha's header goes backwards. That was, if it was Nemecha, was it Ibsen Rossi who got up?
Comes off Ibsen Rossi. Scrimshaw probably would have been offside had the ball fallen for him. Man City having nobody on the post, all squeezing up as soon as it's the outswinger.
Mentioned that he scored a couple of goals this season for the under-18 side. Zeno Ibsen Rossi. And it's Doyle. McDonald. 5 minutes gone in this second half and City still lead. Garcia. Doyle. Right, to come inside. Nemecha. Adrian Benabi. Corner.
Well, from one wing to the other, Benabi looking for the cutback. Really good play here. First of all from Knight. Easy pass from Nemecha, encouraging Benabi to get to the byline and get the cutback in.
Well, 10 corners in the first half and the onslaught has started again here and it's cleared off the line. Well, Manchester City players claiming that it may have crossed. It's not been given. McDonald looks to keep the move alive. City still on the attack here. It's worked back towards Deli Bashuru, who still has it. There is little room on the edge of the area. And eventually it is Curran Brown that will come away with possession and he loses out. Richards. Knight.
Well, it was that delivery into the near post again that caused the problems for Bournemouth. Haven't learnt their lesson from the goal they conceded, the second one.
Not the best from Doyle on that occasion, but it was his delivery just a few moments ago that saw the header from Knight cleared off the line.
It shows how poorly Bournemouth defended that. Knight, one of the smallest players on the field in that near post area. Mariah Welsh, the player that gets the header away. There's the difference in tactics from set plays. Bournemouth have players on the post. Man City didn't. They come up to leave the centre forward offside if the header drops down to him. Both styles of defending have their supporters.
Adrian Benabi. Nemecha. Touch to get away from Nippard initially. City look comfortable, but just the one goal in it.
No pressure on the ball whatsoever here from Bournemouth. Just sitting off. Almost inviting Scrimshaw to come back and put the first bit of pressure on.
They've lost their last 2 league games in and around this cup run, Bournemouth. They were beaten by Exeter and then in the merit stage beaten by Southend. They had an excellent 16-game unbeaten run in the Youth Alliance League. They finished second in their section in the South West Division. 7 points off the top team, Oxford. Top 6 go through to the merit round. Here is Frimpong. Namacha. It's going to go again. Scooped up by Richards, but can't find his teammate.
He does come deep to the edge of the box at times. Taylor Richards to try and link up, play little 1-2s with the player that's playing the ball into him. He's a clever footballer. Hasn't always been able to find that final pass, but he's playing in a very tight area and he's outnumbered.
Here is Cope, we haven't seen too much of in this fixture. Really had the opportunity. Genesini forward. Curran Brown to turn, Scrimshaw to lay off. Curran Brown again, space left-hand side. Oliver had taken up an advanced position. Well worked. Nippard. In towards Curran Brown. He's made good progress inside the area. Something different for Manchester City to deal with all of a sudden. Nippard. Curran Brown are looking across the line, he knows it.
Better from Bournemouth. 2 or 3 good passes. That was the one that was off the line. Knight with the flick. Mariah Welsh just staying in there at the far post. Good header from him. Good positional play.
Heels were just over the line, toes on it.
Yeah, Knight was screaming at the ball had gone over the line. It hadn't.
Doyle. Garcia. Camp will win it back and look to continue his run. Does well against Doyle, then Doyle wins it back. It's a good battle. Doyle, though, tries to work the diagonal. This is Delibashiru. Knight will take it on. City coming forward menacingly. The wrong ball.
It was the wrong ball as well. Dinsmore had read the pass in behind him. Had good pace and strength to get there, but given away the corner.
Stay for men, stay for men. Come on, boys. Come on, let's go. Who's that? Yes, back, back. Friend, yes. Look, good. Left for one. James.
Will it be the driven cross? Or will it be the lofted one?
Well, it's 1 or 2, isn't it? It seems. That's what he's got in his lock-up.
Well, his run-up means it's going to be the driven one.
Here it comes. It is good delivery again, and it was Harwood Bellis that threw himself at that. Namacha. Oh, just a little too tight from Curran Brown, trying to find Scrimshaw, who just turns and says the ball's got to be better for me. Cannot fault his work rate, Scrimshaw. He's chasing everything down. It's almost a lost cause. But it's just the one time that you don't, that potentially you could get in, so he's still trying.
It's been a very frustrating evening for him. Having scored all those goals, he'd have been looking forward to the game. But I think when he realised what the manager's tactics were before the game, that he was going to have to do a lot of running around without too much help.
Frimpong for Manchester City. They back away from the fullback. Namacha, still plenty of sky blue shirts in and around the penalty area. The turn from Doyle. Slip through for Frimpong, who's still going, looks to whip it across. Ward got a good strong hand to that.
In previous rounds he's played at right back, Frimpong, but he's done a really good job at left back today. He's been able to create 2v1s at will against the right wing back for Bournemouth, Genesini.
Delibashiru. Taylor Richards, and still Richards. Really good block from Brennan Camp.
He had to get that absolutely right, and I think he did. Because Taylor Richards has done really well to wriggle it onto his left foot.
Oliver, Scrimshaw to use his pace. Garcia points down the line. Scrimshaw looks to try and find Cope on this near side. Here he is again. Scrimshaw looks to lay it off. Cope with a hit. Bournemouth bursting into life.
First time we've really seen the pace and power of Scrimshaw.
Genesini.
Just for a moment, Garcia was slightly worried.
Mariah Welsh. camp. We had Bournemouth and Manchester City players on the turf a few moments ago. Camp looks to be struggling.
Yeah, that's the tackle he made. He just recovers here. There's the little nutmeg, and he comes back and gets the challenge. It's a good challenge as well. Good bit of skill to start with from Taylor Richards. Just the little nutmeg to buy himself that bit of time on his left foot, but the recovering defender, and that's always key. If you're beaten by the pass, then recover and get back in and get the next block in, and that's exactly what Camp did. He's actually made 3 or 4 very good blocks throughout the game. And if you do misplace a pass, always blame your ankle. That's a good way of going about it.
Well, Camp & Co have kept City down to 2 so far, and Connor will not want to lose his skipper. And Brendan Camp will not want to come off. Mentioned that he made his debut for the Scottish under-19 side recently. Got called into a squad for a couple of friendlies, one against Spain, one against Azerbaijan. Didn't play the Spain game, but made his debut and scored against Azerbaijan in a 2-0 success. He'll be hopeful to be in the camp for the next round of friendlies in March. And some European Championship qualifiers as well to come up at that level.
And I just ought to clarify a point that I made earlier about Camp, who his grandfather was, Jerry Gow. Had 1 or 2 people say, who's Jerry Gow? Well, he played for Manchester City in the 1980 Cup final against Spurs.
81 Cup final?
81, just testing. I was just testing, see whether you're alive and awake.
Yeah, went to a replay, terrific, 2 games. Ricky Villa and all that. Scrimshaw tries to break free.
He was best known for his time at Bristol City, Jerry Gow.
Tough tackler.
Hard but fair.
Yes, well, I'm not quite sure how he's fair in today's game. It's a different argument for a different day. Let's see what City can do here. Frimpong. Still going, allowed to come a long way. Comfortable on his right side. Just couldn't wrap the right boot around it.
He was always sending himself that little bit too wide there. But this is the space he's had throughout the game. He's been able to drive forward. One of the midfield players from Bournemouth has to come across, but there's no one to come across. He goes past Nippard. And you see, he can't wrap his foot around it. The only way he's going to do that is actually get his standing leg off the ground, get his hip out the way and wrap his foot round it. But as soon as he planted his foot, he was never going to get that shot on target.
This is generally when Bournemouth come alive in the FA Youth Cup this season. Most of Bournemouth goals in the competition this campaign coming in the 15 minutes past the hour, 43% thereabout, but obviously the opposition is a little different to the teams that they've played in this competition already. Mansfield, Oxford and Aston Villa all beaten. Mecha thought about the shot. Adrian Banabi will pull it back. Real chance here, taken expertly. Bashiru sliding in. Well, he's had some good moments in this game, the midfielder. And as the ball went behind Taylor Richards, he was on hand to steer beyond Callum Ward.
Just buys the winger a bit more time here, and Mecha, he's clever, just holds up the play, sucks the wing back in. Just watch how the wing back has to come in there. Now he releases the ball, so he's got a bit of time, Banabi, and he picks out the right pass as well. And a good finish from a midfield player that's really tried to get in the box constantly throughout the game.
It's a full debut in the competition for Fisayo Dele Basharu. He came on as a sub against Clevedon in the 4-0 away success in the 3rd round. He's 18 and has been part of the under-18 squad mainly this season. 1 goal netted against Wolves back in August and a 6-0 success. Didn't play in the UEFA Youth League this campaign, although did last term. So many City youngsters that have to be spread across these competitions, but he's made his mark here. Scrimshaw, time to turn. He's done well here, Scrimshaw. Runs into trouble in the shape of Doyle. Oh, some pushing and shoving unnecessarily, so Doyle quite happy to go toe-to-toe. I think it was Mariah Welsh who wasn't happy about something.
And McDonald got involved as well here. He wasn't happy with that challenge. He has a little flick at him, Doyle. Just runs into trouble there. Scrimshaw, there's the foul given away. And Doyle just kicks out on Mariah Welsh. Doyle started that. Mariah Welsh reacted, and then McDonald got involved.
I'm sure the two players are taking it all in, Lloyd Wood is saying.
Great demonstration as well, wasn't it?
He was sent off a dissent against Derby in the previous round. This time, heads bowed from the two players involved. Here comes a change for Bournemouth. Conor Curran-Brown is the player to depart. Luke Pardoe is the player to come on. Scored against Yeovil in the Youth Alliance League earlier on this calendar year, back in January, in a 4-1 home success. I thought that Curran-Brown, when he's been on the ball, doesn't look a bad player at all. He's, again, not seen enough of him.
Well, that's the trouble. Hasn't seen enough of the ball. Not through his fault, but the way the team have been outplayed, it's very difficult for the front players to really get involved.
Richards. One thing we have seen in youth team football, certainly at the high levels, the UEFA Youth League and the FA Youth Cup, an awful lot of goals late on in ties. Teams get tired, and if they are a little one-sided, whereas there was plenty of energy about that Bournemouth defence in the opening 45 minutes, maybe even hour, concentration can go, legs as well. It gets that little bit tougher. The match for Richards to turn.
Well, that's what he's done all evening. Receive balls in and around the box with 2 or 3 players for company. And he just seems to be able to find that bit of space. Takes the touch to one side. Just see him slice across this. What a pass that is from Doyle into Metcha. I think what it's hard to understand that these players that you're seeing out here, particularly the Man City players, we're talking about players with exceptional technical understanding, tactical understanding, and they're only 16, 17, 18 years of age.
Knight. Nene Bashiru calling for it, the goal scorer. Doyle.
They've got to push higher up the field, Bournemouth. They can't allow Man City's midfield just to dominate possession like this.
Nemecha, just a heavy touch, allows Cope to steal in. Mariah Welsh will stride forward, runs into McDonald, ends up on the deck. Doyle takes over, City have it back.
He's had a very good game, Doyle. He's been allowed to play because he had lots of time on the ball, but when he's needed to step in and win the ball back, he's done that. His passing range has been excellent. Frustrating for so many of these Bournemouth players. Cope, we know he can be a real talent when he's running with the ball and attacking defenders. Hardly had any possession.
There have been some star names over the years that have played in Youth Cup finals and won this competition. So Pogba and Lingard for Manchester United in the same side a few years ago, and 1 or 2 of the Chelsea graduates over the last few years are knocking on the door. Callum Hudson-Odoi, of course, and 1 or 2 others that have been sent out on loan. Just wonder which 1, 2 or maybe even more of this Manchester City crop might make the grade, and indeed which Bournemouth players could force their way into the thinking of Eddie Howe over the next few years. An awful lot to choose from a City point of view.
Have seen some outstanding sides at youth level. Of course, that Manchester United side that everybody talks about. But also a West Ham side that include Joe Cole and Michael Carrick, that beat Coventry in the final, really comfortably.
Yes, Adrian. Brilliant, Eric.
30,000 people, I think, turned up at Upton Park to watch that game. The second leg, anyway.
Well, it's getting a little tetchy, and it doesn't need to be. Knight and Camp exchange words.
Is he a bit late here? Yeah, he just catches his heels. There's nothing to it. And then has another little kick at him. That's what Knight didn't like. But Knight's just got to get on with it. Yeah, it's a bit overly aggressive from Camp. Maybe that's the grandfather's influence that you were talking about.
Well, City have got a free kick. That's the net result. Well, it's Vasaya Delibashiru's goal that is giving Manchester City some breathing space if they needed it, and his work is done, the 18-year-old to be replaced here. Does look a very good player. Tom Delibashiru, who's 19, his older brother is a year ahead of him. Played an awful lot for the junior team. Delibashiru just 18, and we are going to see Nabil Touazi, who's 18, and he's got some real skill. We've seen him in the UEFA Youth League over the last couple of campaigns as well. Dole's going to take this free kick. It's back towards Nemecha.
Well, it was a very simple free kick, wasn't it? Play it short, get it back. Same player makes a forward run and just chips it back into him. Again, good control, good strength to hold off the challenge. And for the first time, Ibsen Rossi with the challenge.
Oh, outside of the post, driven in by McDonald. Not seen him getting those advanced positions that often. All smiles as he lets fly.
And he had one in the first half, which he hit over the bar when he tried to get it on the half volley. Good first touch and keeps it under control. Did take a slight deflection as well off one of the defenders that was coming out to close him down.
20 minutes remaining here. Manchester City gunning for a fourth. They lead by 3-1. They've just struck the outside of the post. In comes the delivery, far post, up and under. McDonald doesn't get to the pitch of that ball first time. Here is Richards. Scrimshaw puts the pressure on, but Frimpong is comfortable and no real pressure.
He's looked a real talent, Frimpong. Very athletic. He's good defensively and when he's been running with the ball.
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because people talk about Phil Foden and whether he's going to get his chance for Manchester City, and you look at the players in front of him, and the same with Jadon Sancho when he was at Manchester City, and it's who you've got to displace or put pressure on in your position. And if there's one place you might get through at City, might be at left-back, depending on Mendy's injury. Here's a shot from distance that's easily collected by Ward. Sometimes you've got to be lucky in the position that you progress through. If you're a Jadon Sancho and you've got Sterling and Sane in front of you who are in their early 20s, what do you do?
And you also buy Mahrez as well, just to have a full complement of wide players. He's made a good decision at the moment. But the whole point of the academy system, the whole point of youth sides is that you develop players firstly for your own team. And then if you can't develop them for your own team, you sell them on. And that's what some of the big sides have done in the Premier League in recent times.
Plays for the academy, certainly. And an awful lot of the players that come through the bigger squads have very good careers elsewhere. Nathan Ake, of course, Dutchman, but came through at Chelsea, now plays at Bournemouth.
And sometimes they go away and then come back again for a lot,
more money. Paul Pogba's the standing case there. Sometimes players that you see at youth team level who you think, well, he is a certainty. It doesn't quite work out. We mentioned that Lingard and Pogba, FA Youth Cup winning side for Manchester United. Ravel Morrison was arguably the standout talent in the squad. Didn't make the grade, or hasn't yet. Well, Bournemouth will look to come forward again. Camper's battled hard. He's done well at the back, and he's always been willing to get forward to add some numbers to the Bournemouth attack. What can the Cherries do here? The move breaks down.
Still trying to play from the back, Man City.
Manchester City come forward, but Arby hasn't been as effective in this second half.
Good boy, good play, well done. Yes, sir.
There is space on the right-hand side, though, for Knight.
We actually haven't seen Knight go past his man too often. He's always cutting field. I think he's better served when he's played through the middle in previous games or played out on the left-hand side, where he's dropped his shoulder and gone past people on the outside. In this match, he's always come inside, where he's gone into numbers. Hardly given the ball away, but hasn't actually made things happen.
Doyle plays it forward. Richards down the line. Manchester City coming forward. Knight, can he keep it in play? He can knock it across the goal, but can't find the teammate. That was unlucky.
I think he's actually trying to score himself because there wasn't anybody chasing into the box. It's a great run from him. Beats the defender for pace, then just tries to lift it with the outside of his left boot. He's a bit unlucky. The pass again is by the centre forward, who comes short and sets up the play. Goalkeeper was beaten because he's already diving into his near post. It's the right idea from Knight. Didn't quite execute it properly, but what a talent he is.
Ball to come forward once again. Nippard on this right-hand side. Looks to play it down the line. Bardot recycles. Look out towards Scrimshaw. Should be cleared away.
He was thinking about the overhead kick there, wasn't he, Scrimshaw? Just went a little bit too far for him.
Mariah Welsh plays it left-hand side. Oliver steps out of one challenge. Not the worst effort.
Oh, he's the left wing back now. Again, right-footed player playing on the left-hand side. Just goes in part. The challenge of McDonald.
Ewan Pollock is the young man coming on, 17. He scored a lot of goals for the junior sides coming through the ranks at Bournemouth. A limited opportunity for the 18s this season, and he comes on for Luke Nippard.
He wasn't able to really influence the game, Nippard, certainly on the ball. He worked hard defensively alongside Mariah Welsh, but totally outnumbered in that midfield area. Wasn't able to go and close the ball down as he would have liked to have done.
Nemacha fouled, free kick.
Yellow card. Yes, for Scrimshaw. Chasing back. Frustration for the centre forward. I'm not sure he got that much of the ball.
Bit of frustration from Scrimshaw.
Certainly doesn't lack physicality, as he's proved for Poole Town, non-league football.
Manchester City come forward once again. Once again over on that right-hand side. Fired in low and finds the corner. He has been good on the right flank over the course of this fixture. He's been patient and he's managed to find the net with a curling effort that beats Callum Ward.
Well, I said he hasn't been effective in the top third of the field, but he certainly was on this occasion. He's got that little bit of space to run at the defender. Gets him going one way, just chops it back onto his left foot. And he knew exactly where he was going to hit this. Bends it round the defender, no chance for the goalkeeper. It was so easy for Manchester City to play it from the back, get it into their withdrawn centre forward, who switches it out to that right-hand side. Very good goal from not just the player himself, but from the team.
Going to see a change. Garcia, who scored the second goal, is about to come off. He's handing the armband to McDonald. Boa Amankwah is the player that is going to come on here. And an FA Youth Cup debut for the 18-year-old. He's been a regular for the 18s recently. And the other change sees Alpha Dionko coming on, who has featured in every single FA Youth Cup fixture this season. Has been a sub in all of them, keeps that record up. Signed from Mallorca a couple of summers ago. Sent off against Newcastle in the Academy League just a month ago. City on the hunt for more. Dozen minutes remaining. A place in the semi-finals assured.
Well, it looks though Frimpong has gone from left back to right wing.
Demetria getting underneath the ball.
Much to the annoyance of Banabi, who was in space outside of him. It's been a good combination, and Mecha to Banabi, not on that occasion. There is Frimpong playing on the right wing. Just showing his versatility. As I said, he's played at right back in previous rounds, played at left back tonight. Now he's playing at right wing.
Malden will roll it out. Manchester City will resume and look to play from the back once again. Dionku. Flicked infield, cleverly done as well from Tuezi. Intercepted by Oliver.
Yeah, there's been a lot of reshuffling going on in the Man City lineup here. Amankwah is playing at the back. Dionku is playing at left back.
Get the feeling with a lot of these Manchester City players, they'll be comfortable playing in an awful lot of positions. And it's never seemingly decided for some players until they break into the first team what position they are going to play.
Well, I think the very best technical footballers and tactical understanders should be able to play several different positions.
Richards and Banabi on another mazy run. Wants to pull it back this time. Too many Bournemouth players back. Cope. Mariah Welsh to his left-hand side. Here is Bournemouth's number 11. Can Bournemouth grab a second here? Make the scoreline look a bit more respectable. Cope to turn. He's done well against Frimpong. McDonald helps out, but Bournemouth still on the charge, and they go forward on the left flank. It's in towards Scrimshaw. It's cleared away. Forceful football from the Cherries all of a sudden. Brooklyn Genesini still full of running the fullback. A nice idea, but the angle wasn't right, and it just drifts out of play.
Yeah, Pollock was just trying to say onside there, and just as this was the tackle by McDonald, now the captain of Manchester City, on Cope. And there's the good bit of skill by the substitute, Oliver. Very young faces on that Man City bench. When you see it like that, you realise just how young these players are.
Tuezi, Frimpong, Tuezi wants it back.
Again, I think he's right to have the shot. He was thinking about the cutback, that's why he took another touch, but there wasn't actually anybody that he could cut it back to, because that pass was blocked. You see how Camp just blocked the first one. The player at the far post couldn't get it either, so he tries to just beat the goalkeeper at the near post. If he's going to do that, probably got to go with more power rather than use his side foot. The other way is to go high. As you see, the goalkeeper goes very low with his position.
Doyle. Scrimshaw will pick up sloppy play from Manchester City. Bournemouth on the move. Not for long. City have it back. Ward makes the save, seemingly a little unsighted as he goes down to his left.
Well, I think, like everybody in the stands, thought that was going to be bent into the far corner. He tried to place it into the near post. Taylor Richards almost confused the goalkeeper.
Scrimshaw still chasing things down. And Manquat back from Oldham. Again.
Not with the same energy or enthusiasm, which is understandable, really, from Scrimshaw. It's a jog rather than a sprint now.
It's looking increasingly likely he's going to keep his scoring run up, netting in every single round.
Well, we watched his goals from previous rounds and in other games. Just certainly score a variety of goals. We saw him running behind and bend the ball around the goalkeeper. We saw a good shot from distance. We saw 2 or 3 good headers. So he can score goals of all types.
Would he fit into Manchester City's side?
He'd certainly be given more chances in this game. Whether his link-up would be as good as Taylor Richards, I'm not so sure about that. If he trained with them and played with them on a regular basis, maybe it would become better.
Manquat. Howard Bellis, the ever-present Tommy Doyle in that central area for Manchester City, once again working it wide right, this time for Frimpong, who's switched to that flank, as Stuart explained previously. Richards helps it back, McDonald takes a touch.
Well, this is how the game started, with Man City just keeping the ball at the back. Bournemouth unable to get really near it. Dinsmore has now pushed into midfield for Bournemouth. He's trying to close the ball down but can't get near it.
Manquat will knock it forward. Is there space now after Bournemouth have got players forward? Blowing just a little as he finds Adrian Banabi, who drops the shoulder and drives forward and still going. Can he pull the ball back across the 6-yard box? Well, he's done everything right there, I think, hasn't he?
Brilliant wing play. Went past Genesini far too easily. Attacked the inside and then went down the outside. Then it looked as though he was going to get his cross block, so took another touch. Showed good pace to get there. And all you can do in those situations is just get your head down and play it into a good area and hope that other players are racing in. But he's looked an exceptional player.
Twasey unable to get there. The sliding challenge come clearance from Ibsen Rossi. Well, City will be favourites, certainly, to win the FA Youth Cup. We remarked at half-time that Everton were leading West Brom. Liverpool, the other significant academy, still left in. I guess they were, of course, still are involved in the UEFA Youth League this season, so there'll be plenty of crossover between those two squads. Everton were in front at half-time, but it's West Brom that now lead. And Everton with a man down because of a red card means that the baggies might be through. Final few minutes here, as it is there. And it's Frimpong again, still willing. Cuts inside, Nemecha calling for it!
He should score, really. He said he was blowing a little bit earlier. I think he may just be feeling 1 or 2 aches and pains. But good play again. Down the right-hand side, Frimpong makes the right decision, rolls it into the midfield player, and Mecha, who scored that brilliant goal, the first one of the game, should hit the target. But it's been a really good view, looking at these Man City players, their ability to play around pressure, their ability to run with the ball. We see so many young players now becoming good passers of the ball, but don't have the ability to go past players with the ball. It's been a real mix from Manchester City. I do feel sorry for some of these Bournemouth players. This was their big game. This is the one they must have been looking forward to. big occasion on TV. And the system, the way that they approached the game meant that they weren't able to really get any sort of foothold in the game, even when it was 1-1.
Genesini coming forward. Looks to go again. Amecha won't get to that. Pollock likewise, although he's still happy to chase it down. I guess there's always a fear from a Bournemouth point of view that if you set up slightly more attacking, slightly more ambitious, you might be picked apart. And it might be, you know, more embarrassing.
But I think you have to try and compete higher up the field. You can't just allow the opposition to have easy possession because their movement is so much better, the technical quality is so much better. So why not put them under a little bit more pressure in the dangerous areas?
Frimpong, away from camp. Still going, he's been impressive both on the left and right side.
As a young player, some of these Bournemouth players will come off the field and feel absolutely shattered, but feel as though they haven't really achieved anything. They haven't been in a game. They haven't had enough touches of the ball. You only really enjoy football if you're getting lots of touches of the ball and you're involved the whole time.
Richards has been, so has Frimpong. Richards again, Frimpong wants it, so does Twezi. Amecha edge of the area, who can he pick out? No one is the answer.
Bournemouth players that would have enjoyed it will be the centre-backs, the wing-backs. They've had a lot of action, they've had to do a lot of defending. They've been able to show their qualities at times.
And they've tested themselves against some of the best young players in the country. 3 minutes of added on time at the end of the 90 here. Manchester City comfortable at 4-1. It's a scoreline that reflects the domination, certainly.
Well, he has changed the tactics now. Connell very late on in the game to go with a back four. Pushed Dinsmore into midfield.
Scrimshaw. Final time maybe to try and run at the Manchester City defence here. Still going, can't slip it through to cope initially. Just a heavy touch from Dinsmore. Scrimshaw's going to go again, but can't make it. Still willing to chase it down, and he's still going to go back to help the defence. Frimpong, Twezi makes the move. Frimpong's still going.
I was just worried for Scrimshaw there that if he'd have flown into one of the challenges, he might have got himself sent off, having already just got a yellow card. But he kept his control. Well played, the centre forward.
He has put a shift in. Not his type of game. There'll be battles that he can win over the course of this season, and indeed his career, I reckon. There he goes.
Got a corner out of this one. Just took a slight deflection. It's not just about players developing as young football, it's also about the coaches developing themselves. He's really had to test himself, Alan Connell, against a very good Man City coaching staff and team. How can he stop them playing but also cause them problems? He'll probably have one or two regrets. He'll learn one or two things as well.
Absolutely, he'll pour over the video of this. Here comes the corner. That's Kemp, I think, with the illegal jump into the Manchester City player.
It's a good delivery. Dinsmore, they win the first ball. It's a little challenge, yes, by Kemp. A good flick on to start with, by Ibsen Rossi, who's been good in the air throughout the game. But also good defending by McDonald, who's just gone down awkwardly here.
Don't know if it's the way he fell or maybe just caught a bit of an elbow.
They're certainly looking forward to the next round.
Well, Nathan Aki looking on, and we mentioned players who have won the FA Youth Cup. He won it with Chelsea, of course, back in 2012. He was also in a losing Chelsea side that was surprisingly beaten by Norwich. Once off Chelsea, now of Bournemouth. And we were talking earlier about players that come back to teams for an awful lot of money after being let go. There was a little bit of talk about Aki going back to Chelsea over the course of this season. He's made a very good career for himself at Bournemouth.
Well, he's a very good player. I saw a lot of him not just at Chelsea, but for the Dutch young national teams. The Dutch beat Germany in a couple of Euro under-17 finals, and he was the leader when they won the tournament. Played as a centre-half. He's never really seen as a centre-back at Chelsea, I didn't think. Always seen either as a midfield or maybe a left-back, but he certainly proved at Bournemouth he can play as a centre-back. Antonio Conte used him a few times as the third centre-half instead of Cahill for Chelsea.
That is full time. It is Manchester City deservedly through to the semi-finals of the FA Youth Cup. Nemecha got the ball rolling with a delightful effort before Bournemouth managed to hit back through Tom Hamfrey. Garcia from a corner, and then this young man, Feseo Deli Bashiro, made it 3-1 and made it more comfortable for City in terms of the scoreline, in terms of the performance. It was always so. Knight got a really good last and grabbed the fourth for City, who were just too good for Bournemouth on the night. They battled hard, the Cherries, but it is Manchester City that have made it through to the semi-finals of the FA Youth Cup. They've beaten Bournemouth here by 4 goals to 1.